The Super Bowl nor'easter is all set and done at this point. We are seeing it move out into the Maritimes of Canada, and now we turn our attention to a potentially major storm in the central part of the U.S. this week, towards the Wednesday through Thursday time frame mostly. Now, with this storm, we have many different threats. We have a snow threat, an ice threat, as well as a major severe threat. So, the National Weather Service has already turned its attention to this major storm expected midweek. Early this week, an aggressive storm system will begin to dig south and east across the western U.S. to produce some heavy mountain snow and cooler temperatures. This system will evolve mid to late week into a large-scale, multi-hazard storm with heavy snow, a wintry mix, heavy rain with possible flooding, and severe thunderstorms across the central, southern, and eastern U.S. Now, at the moment, we are still in the signal phase. We still have some things to iron out, but we are basically confirmed to have a major storm in the central part of the U.S. this week. Now, during the day today, we are going to see a low pressure move onto the coast of the Pacific Northwest with some heavy rain and heavy snow in some spots. And as this storm continues to progress through the Rocky Mountains, we will see that moisture start to slide down the Rockies as this low pressure is moving into the central U.S., where it will start to pull up Gulf moisture in droves. And we can see here plenty of cold air from the north, plenty of warm air from the south, and that is the perfect ingredient for snow, wintry mix, and severe weather. Now, right now, the NAM is really loading in the very beginnings of the storm, but we already see here heavy freezing rain, heavy sleet, heavy snow, and a lot of rain, including some potential severe weather on that south side as well. This is more of a spring storm than we've had all this winter. This is the most spring-like storm that we have seen. Landon was pretty close, but didn't have a major severe threat. Of course, we did have the Sawyerville tornado in Alabama, but the severe side of Landon was pretty limited. This one could be potentially major, and we could see this named Winter Storm Miles, which I believe is the next winter storm name. Now, the European model, which is what the Weather Channel looks at, is showing a potentially severe wintry threat here from areas down in Oklahoma and up in through areas such as St. Louis, as well as central Illinois, most of Indiana, southeast Michigan, northwest Ohio, as well as into the northeast, but very limited impacts in the northeast. We are also seeing the potential for some freezing rain in parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, maybe even into Ohio as well. But the main threat with this, and the main talking point with this system, is going to be this severe threat. You can see here that we have cold air on the backside, warm air getting pumped into the southeast, and it is a perfect recipe for major severe weather, and potentially even our first major tornado outbreak of the year. Now, not only will we have a potential dry line situation where dry air will be right next to cold air, and those two air masses will interact, that dry air mass and that moist air mass, but we could also see a cold front with that cold air coming down from Canada and that warm air coming up from the Gulf, and we have some rising and lift out of that as well. So multi-factor severe threat, multi-factor storm as well. So as the storm moves into the eastern part of the U.S., we could see that severe weather linger even as far east as Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. But in terms of the northeast, we just had some snow, as well as from Landon, the very northern tier of the northeast has had a lot of snow, potentially even up to 2 feet. Now, this could all be melting as this low pressure moves north of basically all the northeast, staying basically in Canada. And we will be potentially seeing 2 to 3 inches of rainfall in some spots, and then a harsh freeze before potentially our next system, which the Euro is showing yet another severe threat there as well, but that's so far out that we really don't want to pay attention to it. But the main thing here is that, one, we could see Winter Storm Miles this week with intense snow, sleet, freezing rain, as well as on the southern side of that, a potentially major severe threat across Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and maybe even Florida, but you can kind of go both ways with that depending on what model you look at, as well as a major flooding threat in parts of the central and eastern U.S., including parts of southern Illinois, southern Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, as well as moving into the eastern U.S., Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and then a severe flooding threat with snowmelt and rain on top of it in northern New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And that is going to be the area that we could see flash flooding because of that mass snow melt, as well as the additional rainfall on top of that. This storm is going to be very strong, especially as it continues to move through the country. We do see it start off as 1004, and start to drop into the 980s as it starts to pick up some of that Atlantic moisture. It kind of hovers around 1,000 for a little bit here as it moves through the central part of the U.S., but once you get into the northeast, this storm will start to drop in millibar count very quickly. You can see here in just a matter of 6 hours, we go from 1,001 to 992 to 986, and then out into the Maritimes of Canada. So a potentially major storm is ahead. What do you think about this storm? Comments in the comment section down below. But that is all the information that I have for today. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell. And I'll see you guys next time.